Yes, good evening. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. It's that time of the week again. Well, to be honest, we can do these whenever we want. We can do them every day. It's a call-in show, and they always get heated. And then everyone's like, oh, you're so angry. They don't realize that I actually live for the debate. I love the debate. This is a chance for anybody to call in, have their say. But again, I will ask, please be Tottenham fans. I find it's almost a little bit awkward when fans phone in from other clubs, and I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't really, if I'm honest, I don't want to talk about Liverpool winning the title. That's for my other channel. This is my Tottenham channel. So good evening to each and every one of you. Anybody is welcome to call in. Some rules. Please have some Wi-Fi. Please have some Wi-Fi that works. Please be wearing clothes, and you must have your camera on. If you don't have those three things, you won't be allowed onto the show. And then tonight at 10 to 8, we're going to be over on FHTV Plus. Tell you what, that's a good point. Let me redirect while we're here. To FHTV Plus for what should be an absolutely brilliant second leg between Inter Milan and Barcelona. 3-3 in Spain, and now back to Italy. This promises to be a very, very good game. I'm just going to try and, there we go. Why is it? Yeah, there we go. Add redirect just to make sure, because I know I'll forget later. I'll get so involved in this that I'll just forget. Where are we? What's the name of my second channel? Can we find it? You'd like to think it would be one of the first things it would recommend me. Do you know what I mean? Like, you'd think that it would recommend me where to redirect straight away on my own channel. You would like to think it is scheduled for the 6th of May. There we go. Save. Boom, boom, boom. So if you've got anything that you feel that strongly you want to talk about, and again, I don't want people, I don't want people that just agree with me. I always hear that Savva just wants people to agree. No, but I will debate people, and I will debate hard. All right, I will. I won't go easy on people. So when these people turn up and everyone says, "Oh, I can't believe it, Savva's so rude," and come on, get over it. So it's up to you guys if you would like to come on. As I said, cameras, etc., etc. What have we got to talk about? Well, James Maddison, that news is the big news, isn't it? James Maddison being out. Does it dent our chances of winning the Europa League? Are people not so bothered? Will it matter maybe more against Man United than it does against Bodo? I don't know. You guys can let me know. What else has happened this week? Tottenham won. West Ham won. And wasn't it the worst game of football you've ever seen in your life? But we didn't lose. We stopped a run of defeats, and it's now one defeat in 9, one win in 9, sorry. But don't worry. Ben told you all. He's instilled a winning mentality. I can't help but laugh. Every time Spurs don't win a game, I'm like, where's that winning mentality that I'm told about? Anyway, I'm going to put the link in just a few minutes, and we'll see if anyone wants to come on. But please, if you're going to come into the green room, so to speak, and you're not going to have your camera on and you're just going to say stupid things, I always get someone every week who comes in, they abuse me in the private chat that you guys can't see, and then goes. It's like really mature. So if anyone did want to come on, you must have something to talk about, though. Let me make that very clear. This is not for you to come on and for me to ask you questions. This is for you to tell me, I want to talk about X, Y, Z. It may be an opinion I've had that you don't rate. It may be an opinion that you agree with. It may be something completely different. You might be Ange In, Ange Out, Levy In, Levy Out. Anybody is welcome. So for all those people out there that want to cuss me, I get this all week, by the way. I want to debate you. All right, cool. I've got a call-in show. I want to debate you. Cool. You said that last week. I've got a debate show or a call-in show. So we'll see what happens. Please have something to talk about. I do get a bit frustrated when people don't have anything to talk about. Then we've got the watch along tonight. And then tomorrow we've got a few things as well. And then Thursday's the big day. Bodo Glimt away. Who would have thought that Bodo Glimt would have been such a massive game in the Spurs calendar. Listen, I'm going to whack the link into the chat. We'll see what happens. It'd be great to get some new people on. I mean, people who've been on before are welcome, but it'd be great to get some new people on. As I said, a lot of people talk a great game. By the way, there is the link. I am going to pin it in the chat. A lot of people talk a great game. That's all I know. People chat a wonderful game, and then they're nowhere to be seen. This is open to other YouTubers. This is open to Spurs fans in general. Anyone's welcome. YouTubers, any Spurs fan. You know, it's easy to slag me off on your channel, but here I am with an open call-in show. You are more than welcome. So there's the link if anyone did want to join. In the meantime, let's look at Thursday's game. You know, it's an interesting one, Thursday's game, isn't it? Bodo are very, very good at home. They are. But normally they play their first leg at home. By the way, whoever's just come in somebody's just come in and gone, got to have your camera on unless I know you. If I don't know you, there's not a chance I'm going to bring you on screen without your camera on. They are very good at home. They are very good at home. But normally they have the first leg at home. They tend to get the lead. They tend to get the lead and then they hold on. But this time they've gone away. They've lost. So it's going to be interesting to see how they approach it. But I'm guessing for a club like Bodo Glimt, they've got nothing to lose. This is their their story, isn't it? No one's expecting them to be in the semi-finals. No one's expecting them to win it. So for them, I suppose they haven't really got anything to lose at all, have they? Oh yeah, no, Reezy chats shit. He always does. Earlier today, he was pretending he knew how football transfers work. I found it very funny. He was in the chat going, "That's not true," and I'm like, "Yeah, I've worked for a Premier League football club. It's very true." No, it's not true. It's like, yeah, I've worked for a Premier League club. That's very true. But fans like Reezy, they've wanted Ange all year. They've never come on to chat with me. I wonder why. I wonder why. Aussie Ange, Reezy, Cam Tinley, these guys are never going to come on. Same as Matt. You got Reezy, Aussie Ange, Cam Tinley, Aussie Dude, Matt. None of these people will ever come on. To be fair to him, Ben is the only one. Ben is the only one who has come on to stick up for Ange, which is quite funny. Nick said, "Savva, you haven't worked at a Premier League club. What are you talking about?" Shut up, mate. You know I've worked for two, believe it or not. I've worked for two Premier League clubs. By the way, it's not as glamorous as people think. People think working for a Premier League club is, oh my God, it's amazing. What is it? Great. And after a while, you're wandering around, you see the famous faces, but it doesn't mean anything. They're just employees. You know what I mean? One day, all right. It's not that bad. Don't listen to Nick. This guy's an absolute fraud. I would debate Nick, but it'd be well easy. Honestly, it would be so easy, like taking candy from a baby. Lubo with hair. I love Lubo with hair. Love it. We've got Lubo with hair. We've got Savva Rasta. We've got Stel with hair. Here we go. Let's have a look at this. There he is. This guy. This guy wants to talk about waffle when his man crush is Emerson Royale. Guys, girls, let's get some people on. We need the guests. This is what makes this show work. And by the way, big up to Nige Pure Coys. I'm not sure if he's in here, but he did become a YouTube member about an hour and a half ago. So big up to you, Nige. I've got lots of time for Nige. Always have had time for Nige. Great guy. So please do subscribe to Nige at Pure Coys as well. Look, it's one of those things, isn't it, where I've noticed that everyone's getting a little bit more tetchy towards everybody else, in the last week or two. It's almost like, do you know what I find funny? I'll say this. This might get a reaction. It might not. It's almost like Spurs win games so irregularly now that when we do win a game, everyone goes mad and starts abusing others that don't like Ange. I get this all the time. Every time Spurs win a game, I just know I'm going to get, oh my God, did you see what XYZ said about you? It's like, oh, What? Because we won a game, our first game in about 10 or something. Like it's utter madness. This fan base is always good fun, but I think we've always got to try and remember that it is only football, right? We can get heated in the moment, but it is only football. That's as far as it needs to go. So I think we've got to be very mindful that when everyone's just abusing each other, I think everyone's got to remember that this is just football. People have got other stuff going on in their life, and that this is an escape for people. This is an escape for people. Oh my God. Savva without hair. This is truly worrying. Savva without hair. Savva, how was the lie detector? Mate, when I saw this, Hot's maybe on a big rant today saying you aren't a top fan. I don't even, who is he to tell anyone they're a fan? I mean, listen, no one can tell anyone else they're a fan. It's that simple, right? No one can tell anyone else they're a fan. People are allowed, people are allowed to support how they want. People are allowed to be honest. People are allowed to be deluded. People are allowed to be frustrated. People are allowed to be happy, angry, sad, whatever it is. Yeah, I don't need justification from a man I don't know. I don't need justification from anyone I don't know to tell me I'm a Tottenham fan. As I said, the amount of money spent at this club in the last 40 years, the amount of traveling the last 40 years with this football club, it's fine. Listen, as I said, I've got no problem with Paul. He's more than welcome to his own opinion. I don't agree with his opinion, but I don't need to talk about it every day to make myself feel better. I have my own content. Yeah, I go on camera. My content is about Tottenham, about football, about players, about managers. My content isn't just to abuse other human beings. I just wouldn't do it. Barry, actually, I take everything back I said about not wanting to abuse other human beings now that Barry has arrived. Barry, what do you possibly have to say on this fine day for a fan calling show?
Well, you said you could. It's been easy debate, but let's start with where this all started. And did Tottenham's struggles really start when Emerson Royale was sold from this club? Discuss.
This is shameless. Do you know what? I'm not going to die on that hill because I think you'll probably see a correlation between when did he go? Was it last January?
I don't know. I don't want to even think about this.
You took him to the airport. Come on, when was it?
Hang on, let's have a look. It's like that video.
I'm pretty sure it was not this January just gone. Wasn't it last January?
On the final day of the 2021. No, that's when he went to Spurs. August 2024.
August 2024. Okay, so it was this summer just gone. No, yeah. So listen, our downturn started long before Emerson Royale left. Our downturn started about 18, 19 months ago. But
I think you're wrong, Savva. Do you know why?
Go on.
Because it's my opinion.
but you can't be right. Why? Because it's my opinion.
My opinion.
Good. Okay, good. Well, listen, and listen, you can stay with me then and tell other people, come on. But what I love about this, Barry, is you must see this all the time. I get people all day long in other shows, watch alongs. So I'll debate you. Oh, come on. When can I talk? Cool. I've got a call-in show. And it goes.
Yeah.
Hushly, silent. Here's a question. Ryan's asked a question. Said, if we don't win another game this season leading up to the final, we need to win it anyway, but feel more pressure around us because we still have Ange, but United have changed manager, so it looks more positive. That's, I mean, it's interesting, right? I mean, listen, Ruben Amorim taking over at Man United, obviously it's not had the upturn that they want in the short term. I believe it will have in the long term for them. But I'm going to ask you this. If we get to the final, and obviously it's not set in stone yet. I think we will, but it's not set in stone. Does it mean anything that we've beaten them 3 times? Or was that so long ago now, Barry, and we've got so bad since then that it doesn't really count for anything. Where do you sit with that?
Yeah, I mean, I said this probably about 45,000 WhatsApp messages ago because obviously Matty K was in there talking about some nonsense, and then Lubo was obviously defending Archie Gray for the 489th time because everyone was saying how bad he was. I think that just because we've beaten them 3 times, the arrogance that we have of Spurs fans, that's along with our entitlement, along with we shouldn't have these players, or we shouldn't sign these players, and we shouldn't have this manager, and why we're better than these people and everything else, we'll be sat there going, well, I beat them 3 times, so 4th time it's going to be easy.
Yeah,
it's only Man United. This is a very different Man United. When we beat them at the start of the season, they, obviously they were in a mess. When we beat them at their place and in the Carabao Cup, we gave up so many chances that if they could have taken some of them, not even, they had so many, it was ridiculous. We saw what happened. It's a completely different Man United side. They don't lose many games now. They seem to turn up in the Europa League. We saw what happened. 3 goals in 7 minutes. We saw what they did when they went to Bilbao. They just know how to win in finals. And I just think that, a lot of people have booked their flights, have done their plans for Bilbao and everything else. The moment that happened last week, I was like, I'm not going, because I just know what's going to happen with United. I just know what's gonna happen. We've seen this written before. Oh, here he is. You mentioned Archie Gray.
Emerson Royal.
Oh, hang on. It'll be banter in a minute when it's Savva. Banter.
Hang on. Emerson Royal gets sold and we go on a 10-match unbeaten run. That says it all, doesn't it?
Do you know the funny thing about this? It always starts off with banter. But after you talk badly about Archie Gray for a certain amount of time, Lubo switches. Lubo, it's like what was it? The Candyman. If you said his name 3 times, was it Candyman? Yeah. Well, seeing as no one's calling in to have a rant or a vent I'm stuck with you two. Yeah, listen, let me ask you that question, Lubo. We've played Man U 3 times. We've beaten Man U 3 times. Is this the same Man U we're playing?
Who knows? They're as inconsistent as us, aren't they?
They don't lose as many as us. They don't lose as many as us. I'll give them that.
They don't win as many as us either. They've just drawn a lot more than us. If you look at the league table. And they've got 1 extra point. 1 point out of 35 games is not. It's as fine an edge as you can have. But they're much better in Europe, like we are, and they're awful in the league, like we are. They've scored goals. They've scored more goals than us recently. They're also letting in a lot more goals than us. They've 4 against Lyon, 4 against Brentford. We had a clean sheet at Brentford, didn't we? It's anyone's game. It's anyone's game, isn't it?
We did sit in. Hang on. I've got an echo, Lubo, coming from your end. I think it's from you.
Hang on. Hold on. I'll change it. Give me 1 minute.
All right, Lubo.
Hold on.
I'll change.
He loves it.
Lubo loves it. Oh, by the way, I know you can apply for your tickets for Bilbao. So I don't know. Lubo's going to be safe because he's like, I don't know. It's like 1600th or something. And Lubo's got so many points. He's got more points than Archie Gray's got good appearances for Tottenham. I'll say it now. He'll probably hear me. He'll probably hear what I said. He'll hear that and he'll be like, I heard what you said when I was out the room.
It's like an Archie. It's like the Batman's thing.
Yeah.
As soon as you say Archie Gray, this image of him just appears across Lubo's house, and he feels I must defend him.
I think he's upset that I got so. Percy's right, or Percy. I do like the way that he calls him Percy. I don't know whether he does it on purpose or not. Old Lubo, but yeah, I am going to stay away, Phil. But I just think he was probably jealous. Percy was right, and You know, Lubo was jealous that I was about 3 foot away from Archie Gray. I mean, that is. We could ask him, Lubo. Were you upset that I was that close to Archie Gray?
Lubo? I've got somebody in the back that I'm going to bring on, and if they don't want to be on with other people, I can get them off. But hello there.
Hello. You right? Just so you know, the name's a joke, by the way. I'm not actually Ange In. I'm very, very much Ange Out.
Oh, I was looking forward to a good debate. Oh gosh.
I'm going to disappoint you though.
What's your name, my friend? What's your name?
I'm Miles. I go usually by Ave Master on YouTube. Ave Master, Ave, so AVE, and then Master.
Oh, okay, all right, okay. It's so strange when you see what people actually look like. I think everyone should reveal themselves at some stage. Talk to me then. You've come on and started by saying I'm very much Ange Out. You must have seen me and know my opinions. You probably never want to see Barry because look at him. So what are your opinions, Miles? Why is it that you don't want Ange?
I just think that this is due to the fact that this has been probably the worst season in my life as a Spurs fan. I'm only 23 years old. I've only seen us win one trophy in my entire lifetime, unfortunately, and watching us in 17th place has just been nothing short diabolical in the league. And the league is mostly what I focus on. I think that, we can go to tournaments and stuff and we can win trophies, but we haven't won any trophies. So therefore, most of my focus is on the league, seeing as I've only ever really seen us have success in the league. I've never really seen us have success in tournaments, apart from when I was 7 years old. So,
okay. So can I ask you, Miles, but does this is the question that everyone gets asked, right? This is the question everyone. Does Ange winning the Europa League change your opinion as an Ange Out fan? And by the way, there's nothing wrong with if it does, just because it doesn't change my opinion. Does it change anything for you at all? If we then got the open top bus parade, and does it change anything for you?
I think it'll be a very, very, very exciting experience to go see if we do, but I still feel like he should leave. I think 16th, 17th in the league is too much of a fear factor to look at going into next season as well. If we have a manager that is willing to go that low down in the league for tournament glory, when it's a gamble to get tournament glory anyway.
It is a massive gamble, right? Because I think everyone I speak to, I'm sure you've seen, there are thousands that hate me, and that's fine, right? And that your opinion, you're rubbish, you're not a real fan. And if Spurs win, you'll be in the mud. But it's a huge gamble, isn't it? Because if we don't win that competition, Miles, now we're just a team sitting in 16th or 17th, and it's been the worst season. It must have been the worst season you can ever remember. When you say you're 23.
Yeah, it is the worst season.
Yeah, it must be at your age, right?
I mean, for me, the best seasons we ever had was on the Poch, when we got second place, when we got to the Champions League final, and all the success we saw with Poch. Even though, yes, we didn't win any silverware, in my opinion, there was still success because there was consistency, and that's all I've ever wanted to see is a consistency. Even if we're like consistent top half of the table, that's all right for me. But seeing us being so fragmented and being so up 1 year, down the next, up 1 year, down the next, it kind of makes me get frustrated, specifically when we go through a manager pretty much every season and a half, really.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, look, Lubo, let me ask you. And by the way, if other people do come in, we can either have a great big panel show or we can have one-on-one debate, whatever anybody wants. But Lubo, you would be the only one. I'm not being rude. You'd be the only one on this panel that remembers the relegation season, right, in '77.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, does this have that vibe? I don't mean the cup run, but does this season, in terms of sort of like 1 win in 9, does this feel very much like that, but without the relegation, or am I way off?
No, it's a different type of season. In 76, 77, I mean, we went to Derby in the October. We got beaten 8-2. And you're looking at
What?
it thinking, we lost 8-2
Was
at
was
Derby.
Ange the manager that day?
Do you know, I think Keith Birkinshaw was manager.
Right.
Believe it or not. We went, because Birkinshaw was 76 to 84. And he took over a team from, I've just got to check the records when he took over from Terry Neal. So I can't actually see that. We just weren't good in defence. It was strange because we had Stevie Perryman, we had a 19-year-old Glenn Hoddle, but the team generally was poor, and we never struggled to get away from the bottom the whole season. Whereas this season we were up and down like snakes and ladders for a few months, and then unfortunately we had more injuries, and after Romero and Van der Ven got injured at the beginning of December, we got 1 point out of 21 1 point from 7 games, and after that it's just been a free fall, hasn't it? So it's been different. It's just different. It's just, I don't know, you're asking me to go back nearly 50 years, but
No. It's just purely because in my lifetime, Lubo, I mean, I was born just after that. I was an 82 baby. In my lifetime, I saw some really poor outfits in the 90s, but those squads were really poor. I thought that, we should have been where we were in the league because of the squads we had, Lubo. I thought we had really poor squads. I don't think this is a really poor squad. So for me, I just can't wrap my head around how people watch this and still want this manager. Even if you win the trophy, surely no one can want seasons like this. Surely.
No.
In the 90s, didn't we win silverware in the 90s, like at least a couple times?
Yeah, we were 91 in the FA Cup, and then right at the other end of the year, 99, we won the League Cup. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't like the whole of the 90s was crap. We had a couple of seasons where we were in the top half. But we didn't have great teams then. We were very much, for a lot of that era, if I remember rightly, Barry and Lubo will be able to correct me if I'm wrong, I felt like we were really poor, but with Teddy Sheringham. Do you know what I mean? I felt like Teddy would bang in 20, 25 goals a season, so we always knew we were going to be all right. But we weren't. I didn't think we were ever good enough to be a top 5, 6 team back in those days.
Right, Matt, can I ask, would you rather have the 90s again or have the past 6, 7 years that we've had recently at Spurs?
Four.
Because in the 90s, you had 2 trophies.
Yeah.
Yes, we were consistently not great in the league, but we had 2 trophies under our belt. This year, the past 6 or 7 years, we've had no silverware. One Champions League final, which is really, really good, but we've been consistently poor. Apart from 1 year with Antonio Conte, we got 4th in the league.
Nothing compares to that day at Wembley with Gazza's free kick.
Oh. Well, Lubo, my simple answer to this was going to be, at least in the 90s, we got to watch. I mean, if I start from the beginning of the 90s through, and if I miss anyone, gentlemen, please feel free to tell me. In the 90s, we saw Lineker, we saw Gazza, we saw Mickey Hazard return to the club, we saw Darren Anston, we saw David Ginola, we saw Klinsmann, we saw Popescu, like Barmby, Sheringham. Compared to the last 6 years of players we've had, Miles, I don't know. Just the individual players then made me love Tottenham more than individual players now. I don't know. Barry's being a fraud. Barry's doing that thing again where he's pretending to work. He does this a lot. Like, oh, look at me. I'm in charge of 19 staff and just some nonsense. Am I guys? 90s versus the last 6 years, player wise.
Well, it's a bit. I like to sort of compare. Oasis announced their comeback earlier in the year, and it's like Spurs have gone back to when Oasis were good as well. It's like mid-table and below. So I actually think Ange and Spurs have outdone themselves because we always used to be kind of mid-table in the 90s, but yeah, we're just a little bit lower. So we're trying to. I mean, look, we're breaking records. There'll be another one maybe a Palace team at the weekend. But yeah, at least you knew what you got with Spurs in the 90s. This team now, I wouldn't say sometimes good, sometimes bad. It's a lot bad, but you never, you can't predict what's going to happen, you know. And I think back then you could predict a little, to some extent. You could predict. I mean, Lubo's probably got the programs nestled somewhere. He loves the program, old Lubo. Apart
They're in
from
the
West,
loft.
apart from going to
In the
West Ham
archive.
and getting the programs,
They're in the loft from the 90s. They're in the loft.
Yeah,
So-
it's an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, I've got all of the league finishes in front of me, and we started the 90s. I mean, this is really clutching, by the way. In the 89-90 season, we actually finished third. Lubo, who was our top goal scorer in the 1989-90 season, and how many did he get in all comps?
Jesus. 1990. Jesus. It must be Lineker.
It is Lineker with 26. Then the following season, we finished 10th. Lineker and Gaza both got 19. Then the following year, which was Lineker's last season, we finished 15th. And he got 35 in all competitions. Then was the era of Teddy Sheringham era.
Yeah.
But I just don't feel like, I don't know. Again, I'm told I'm a bad fan, whatever I say. So I'll just say it. I don't care. I don't feel like I have the same association with the players now that I did then. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the caliber of players or what, but I always felt we had a talisman. I always felt we had somebody to, I don't want to use the word worship, but we had somebody that was wow, we've got this guy. Now I just feel it's all a little bit bland. I don't know if that's...
Do you know what? Let me take you back to 2007 when Spurs celebrated their 125th anniversary. I took my son to the O2. They did a premiere of the Spurs film for 125 years. And they had the fans sitting downstairs and the players sitting upstairs. I thought it was just disgusting. And, again, Levy's Tottenham, another little thing. The players should have been downstairs amongst the fans. I mean, during the break, I had a chat with Pat Jennings and I think Robbie Keane. That was very nice, and that was it. And Ledley, and that was it. But I was just lucky to catch them in between, during the intermission. And it's the players then were you could relate to them, but you could speak to them. Now it's you got security at the training ground. People could walk into Cheshunt and watch them train on certain days. Today it's security, big gates there. It's all changed. It's all changed. Accessible is the word. That's it. The players were accessible in those days. I remember going down as a kid at half term in 1971 and just waiting for all the players to come out of training, and they all stopped and they talked, and I've got all the autographs, funny enough, except Chivers. He was the only one who wouldn't sign. I've got them all in my autograph book from 1971. And the players were lovely in those days. And try and get hold of a player today. Impossible.
Can you quickly go back onto that comment on McCarthy when it came to nostalgia? He said, isn't nostalgia playing its part? Because even for me, maybe it is nostalgia, but that's nostalgia because they won something. Even those players that we named, they've won at least a trophy, an FA Cup or a League Cup. Yeah. Even when it came to, I still remember names from 2007 or 2008, sorry, when I was 7 years old. Jonathan Woodgate, Ledley King, because of the fact that I still remember my dad's reaction to us winning that cup. Even when it comes to Poch era, if someone said, would you prefer the team that you have now or the team that we had under Poch when it came to Tongan, Alderweireld, Eriksson, Son, Kane, Trippier, like those names will always be deep drilled into my head because of the success in which they had. Yes, nostalgia plays a part, but nostalgia is drilled in by the either success on the pitch or the success when it comes to lifting silverware.
Yeah, look, I think it's interesting because whenever fans of my age, obviously a lot of people on YouTube are very, very young, and whenever people talk about you know, you can name a player and they go, oh, they're class, and I'm like, no, God, you never saw XYZ. They always say nostalgia. No, like it's not nostalgia that I loved David Ginola. David Ginola isn't great in. Hopefully, Lubo will agree with me. Ginola's not great for nostalgia. Ginola was great because Ginola was a great footballer. Gaza wasn't great for nostalgia. Gaza was just, he lit up the lane. Gaza was, I remember as a kid going to the games, everyone was like, Gaza was a god. You know, the first games I ever started going into, Hoddle was just this man. All I remember as a kid was Hoddle. Like, it's like, what is it? And it's like everyone just was in awe. Now I don't believe these players are there. And anybody who's tried to join the show called Savva's Nightmare with a picture of Hotspur Hippie, I'm not going to let you on without your camera on, am I? At least put your camera on. I'll let you troll me that way, but come on. If not, just you're going to get blocked in the next 30 seconds. So I don't think it's nostalgia, but I don't know. I can't remember the last time Lubo, you might Lubo, Miles, you might disagree. Since Bale, there's not been a player where I'm like, wow. Don't get me wrong, Kane was a phenomenal goal scorer, but there's no one that's made me want to run to the lane. There's no one that's made me go, oh my God, look what this guy did today. Is that fair? Is that?
There's one for me since Modric and Bale, and that's me personally, because I like defense. I think that every good team is solidified by its defense. For me, Vertonghen was my personal one. That's because I rated Vertonghen super, super highly as a defender. Yeah, he had a good quick goal in him as well at some points. But like someone I've actually generally been asked, who would you prefer, Vertonghen or Romero? And they say, oh, I'll take Romero every day. No, Vertonghen. Any day of the week. Vertonghen is a captain of the back line more than any other person that I've seen at Spurs in the past 6 years.
I'll be honest, Lubo, I'll ask you. I don't think that since Vertonghen out of Ireland, we've had a centre half that can lace their boots. I mean, Romero's good on his day, but those two were
phenomenal, weren't they, for several years?
Yeah.
And it was a shame because Vertonghen had concussion, didn't he, from that collision in the Champions League match, I think, and didn't realise how badly that concussion had affected him.
Yeah,
And people thought he lost his form the following year. It was such a shame because he was a superb player, just terrific.
Superb defender, a proper defender though, Lubo. Like there was none of this. Oh well, he's good at this, but not this. It was just like he was intelligent. He was strong, good in the tackle. He was good in the air. He was a leader. I just really struggle with the players we've got now I don't know. It's just like, I find it really hard to identify. I don't feel like there's that connection that there once was.
You know what it is? I'll tell you what it is as well. Poch had a lot to do with it because he got everybody together on the same page. Not the case today.
Yeah, I agree with you.
At a push, I would say if there's a player that makes me want to at least go and see Spurs, because I do go and see Spurs at least once or twice a month if I'm lucky. Because I've actually just moved back down to London recently. I was up in Hartlepool for a very long time. Van der Ven, personally. That's because I've watched Van der Ven since he was in Wolfsburg. And I actually remember when we were going to sign him, when he was rumoured for us, I remember messaging on this channel saying, if we sign Van der Ven, he'll be a very, very big benefit to us because he's strong, he's fast, and so on and so forth. Because I don't just watch Premier League. I personally don't think the Premier League is the best league in the world. So
I completely agree with you on that one. Don't worry about that. Look, I think it's interesting. Look, welcome to the Psycho Teacher. I love that name. And Ryan as well. Welcome. I think, look, that's an interesting one. When we talk about Mickey Van der Ven, like Mickey Van der Ven for me, I think is a very good player. I feel very sorry for Mickey Van der Ven, and Lubo will back me up. Barry will back me up on this. I'm sure you guys have heard me say this. I just want to see a season where Mickey Van der Ven isn't playing in crazy tactics. I want to see Mickey van der Ven playing for a proper coach where we have an actual back four and this guy isn't having to stretch his hamstrings every 30 seconds. So I don't want to say I'm on the fence about Van der Ven. I think he's got a lot of qualities. I do want to see what he's like. For example, if anyone watched the game last night, Palace versus Forest, Milenkovic and Murillo just deal with anything that comes in that box. They deal with, whether it's on the ground, on the floor, in the tackle, in the air. They deal with everything. I'd love to see Van der Ven in that system for a little while. I just want to see how good is he with the concentration? How good is he when he's not relying on the pace? Ryan, soccer teacher, I'll hand over to you. They're just my thoughts.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me on. And it's an immense
Always.
honor to be in the same chat room as Ian Lubo. I learned so much about Tottenham Hotspur with you, sir. Thank you very much. Yes, and the great number 6, you should be our number 6, right, Savva? You know, before having what you're saying, you should have a nice number 6, man. You know, we need a nice, number 6 who is like a kind of pit bull before having what you said, those tactics, of Van der Ven.
Yeah, listen, I'd love to think that I'm the number 6 that dictates play like a Rodri, but I'm not sure many would agree with that. Ryan, hello, mate. How you doing? You well?
Yeah, not too bad, man. I've just been a bit busy over the last couple of days, man. I'm having a stressful time at the moment, and it's not with the cats, it's just life in general. But yeah, no, I'm good apart from that, man. It's good to be able to speak to you every now and again, Sav.
Yeah, life will get you like that. Look, let's move it on. Unless anyone's got a particular topic they really want to talk about, if you have, feel free, shout it out. This is your time. If not, I will offer a subject. Ryan, tell me, what are we talking about?
Well, I was actually surprised because just before coming on, Sav, I had a look at the fixtures, for the week that the weekend before we was meant to be playing in the final, because like I've said to you, we probably will get to the final anyway. It's been
right off Bodo.
Friday. What was interesting? Because Villa were trying to turn around and say they didn't want to change the fixture, didn't they?
Yeah, but do you? Let me ask you. If you take your Spurs hat off for 1 second, do you blame Villa? Let's be really, really honest. Villa don't care about us. Villa's main goal, their one and only goal right now, is Champions League football. They do not care about Tottenham Hotspur in any way, shape, or form. So, do you blame them for being pissed off?
Yes and no, because if it's good for one and it's not good for the other teams, right? That Man United had their game changed over, right? Mm-hmm. And who have they got that weekend? It's
like Everton, isn't it, or something?
Something like that. And Everton didn't kick up a fuss about it. I know they've not got a lot to play for. I understand that, but
Ryan, surely though, the fact that Everton have got absolutely nothing to play for, Aston Villa you've got to remember, right, and excuse the pun, Aston Villa have gone balls deep this year with salary, right? Aston Villa have gone absolutely balls deep, and Lubo will tell you, Lubo's a finance guy, he loves it. Aston Villa desperately need Champions League football because of how much they've spent this year in terms of wages to turnover. Is that right, Lubo?
Yes, but having said that, Sam, Everton are on telly this weekend. It's the last game at Goodison Park that on that Friday night. That's the last one, I believe. Right. So it's on the Friday. It's pride of place, one match. I would think they'll be looking forward to it. If United, and I'm sure they will be, are in Bilbao, then United will probably rest a lot of players, and so will Spurs. So why Villa would be worried?
So does it matter that we changed it then? Like, surely, why did we want the game changed? Surely we just go there, take loads of 18 and 17-year-olds. Why did we need it changed?
Because
Ange won't play him.
Yeah, possibly,
but surely, if you're 6 days before a cup final, surely not even a fan like me will care that we've put out loads of 17 and 18-year-olds. Surely.
It's not a matter of we won't care. It's more a matter of he won't play the 17, 16-year-olds or 18-year-olds.
Yeah, I think it's an utter disgrace that Villa have sat there and said about being a family friendly, and they've got loads of things organised that they couldn't change, and the Premier League have just gone, oh well, we'll just change it to Friday because we can. I think, I mean, it's Lubo's dream, right? You'd have Donnelly recalled, you'll have Keeley recalled, Gray would start in the 6th. This is like Villa before a final.
Hang on. In terms of fairness for the two teams, and Spurs can't put out a team of kids. They've hardly got any kids left. They're all on loan. You've got to have an equal playing field for both of them. So if United have got five days before the final, it's unfair for Spurs to have 3 days before a final.
But not if Lubo.
We'd be dreadful if we were ever at top club.
But he won't do that, don't you?
But surely you play Whiteman, you'd play Reggie, you'd play a J.E., you'd play.
He didn't. Do you know what, Nick? He had a J.E. on the bench on Sunday. He played one sub. He made one sub only. He should have had a J.E. on at half time. He just doesn't. He doesn't think. He's not wired that way. Our manager.
Was it a Jai or Luis that scored the second or third goal? And how was he rewarded for such what was an incredible 1-2 goal?
To be fair, he was rewarded with a place on the bench against West Ham about 4 months later.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh yeah, what an amazing reward.
You could say about I know this is going to trigger Lubo. You can say about what happened with Archie Gray. Helps us out in our time of need. And then what happens with him? Just dumped to the side, not even in the squad.
That's right.
I think it's absolutely diabolical.
He was in the squad. He just wasn't playing at all. And I'm sure he's probably pissed off. He's helped out at the back, and when Ange gets a chance to put him in for a few games in as a 6, he chucks him in at Anfield. I mean, madness.
I think Archie Gray enjoyed his time with me that afternoon than he did with Ange's squad.
Do you know what though, guys?
He hasn't been the same since, has he? I hope you're not trying to mentor him to play like Emerson Royale.
Guys, we would be a terrible big club. These big clubs that in the last couple of weeks of the season are trying to fight for the Champions League and the FA Cup and the Premier League. And we're sitting here going, oh, please help us. Please help us. If we were ever a big club and you've got to go balls deep in the FA Cup, League and Champions League, we're going to absolutely shit ourselves, aren't we, as a football club? We really
Savva, what are you on about? We're already a terrible top club, big club, whatever.
Yeah. As Stelio says,
we're so bad at being a big club that we're not a big club when we should be.
Yeah, I mean, the big club argument is... I mean, Psycho
we are the best of the losers, as Stelio said yesterday, indeed. The best of the losers, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I know, right?
So as it stands, if I'm not wrong, somebody will correct me if I am. As it stands, Spurs will play Villa on a Friday night. Man United will play Chelsea on a Friday night. And then... assuming both teams, it's because Spurs and Man United this season have both got it in them to both somehow lose on Thursday night. We're all sitting here going, English final. How embarrassing if this now turned out that neither of the English clubs made it through to Bilbao.
It would be an English final. Come on.
You definitely think it will be an English final?
Yeah, it will be an English final. Come on, it's Bodo Glimt. I don't mean disrespect to Bodo Glimt, but nowadays you cannot say anything. It's always a disrespect, blah blah blah. But anyway, it's still Bodo Glimt, and it's Tottenham Hotspur. Come on, mates. I don't see
6-1 to Roma at home. 3-1 to Celtic at home. 2-0 to Lazio at home.
It's a football accident, Football accidents happen once in a while, indeed. But I've never seen any teams from Norway. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Winning any important titles in Europe whatsoever. I don't think it will be the first time. That's an on-off. It's like a football accident.
I know it's a football accident, but Bodo have had a consistent amount of accidents when it comes to clubs like Lazio, like Roma, like who else? I three Porto.
Right over those Italian clubs you say it, both Roma and Lazio, they are well, but they haven't been so good this season that is.
Lazio would have absolutely smacked us if we versed them this year.
Are we forgetting about the fact that we're going to be playing this match on an artificial pitch as well? We're always a bit lackluster when it comes to artificial pitches.
Remember how Pedro Porro played against Tamsworth when we were on an artificial pitch?
Why?
Yeah, it was unwatchable.
Why would Lazio have smacked us? I'm sorry, they went out.
Yeah, I think
Lazio is so overrated, in my opinion.
I agree with you.
And do you think? Okay, they may be overrated, but they're still fighting for top four in Serie A.
No,
are we fighting for anything in the league?
There's some way
Are they miles off?
But the problem is, guys, what no one's taken into consideration. Spurs have had so many accidents this year in the league. It's unbelievable.
Tottenham Hotspur haven't been an accident. You could foresee it, in the beginning of the season. Timo Werner, blah blah blah. So I don't think Tottenham is an accident, a negative one indeed. Bodo Glimt is like a positive accident in Europe. That will never happen again.
We'll see. Sam, I'm going to shoot. I might be back a bit later. I'll catch you later.
See you later, Lubo.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
But aren't we? Listen, I'm just going to ask a question. Aren't we doing what English clubs always do? Aren't we looking at teams and just completely belittling them without cause? Now, listen again. When I looked at Bodo Glimt's European record at home this year, as I said at the beginning of the show, normally Bodo have played their first leg at home, and what they tend to do is they tend to win the first leg convincingly because they score a lot of goals at home, and then the second leg, it's almost as though they do what they did when they came to White Hart Lane, and I'll always call it White Hart Lane, right? They've almost done that again. They've played the way they play their away legs, which is lots of pretty football. I thought they were a very nice passing team. They've got some nice movements, but without any real threat. However, on their own ground, on the plastic pitch, they do score a lot of goals. So aren't we in a position, guys, where an early goal, I think an early goal for us kills the tie completely. An early goal for them, and suddenly that Spursy word starts creeping into the minds of players and fans.
Whoever scores the first goal will be the one that gets the most momentum in that game. And I know that's a very basic way of saying, that's how football is meant to be played. Whoever scores the most goals, whatever. Yeah, but in that first 10 minutes, we usually go guns blazing in those first 10 minutes. Yeah. If we concede a goal in those first 10 minutes, Bodo will have the time of their lives with us putting all tools down and putting our heads down, which we do every single time we concede within 10 minutes. Liverpool, every fucking time we've played Liverpool, apart from that 1-0 win, they scored within 10 minutes. We've just put down our heads, and then we've lost, 6-3, 4-0, and 6-1. Or was it 5-1? Sorry.
I do have to say, for that specific reason, I felt like we had to bring a 3-goal lead there to that place, because for me, in my mind, 2 goals is almost sort of, I don't want to say the worst thing we could bring, but it's a very, very dangerous lead to bring.
It's the easiest final ever in history, because beating a team 3-1 and plus 3-0 in their home, so that will be the easiest semi-final ever in history.
I don't know. I'm not convinced we win tomorrow, mate. I'm just not convinced, man. I'm really, really not convinced. I saw us chuck away a 2-goal lead against, who was it, Dynamo Zagreb, whilst I'm pretty sure their manager was sort of, I hear he was in prison. I'm not too sure if that was true or an exaggeration. And I just remember I don't think I've ever been angrier at anything, let alone football, than that night. And I just have that haunting memory, and I just cannot sort of be confident about tomorrow's game when I remember sort of nights like that and us throwing away leads in the past.
We as Tottenham fans, we don't have any confidence. We haven't built any confidence over the past 3 seasons, though. But is this true?
How can you when we've lost? How can you have confidence when we've lost against every single? All 3 relegation teams this season have we struggled against, apart from one game against Southampton when we won 5-0.
Honestly, you don't need confidence to beat them, to get into the finals. Indeed, that's my opinion. Actually,
Oh, hang on. Sorry,
Glimt,
can I feel like I do think we're going to go through. I've said we're going to win it. I know people out there will tell you I've said opposite. Said we're going to win it. But I'm not like thinking, we're just going to go there and it's Bodo and roll them over. You've got to remember, when they came to our ground, they were missing all their best players, right? We've got to remember as well, all the pressure is not on Bodo.
Excuse me, sir, but their best players are not Maradona, Zico, Pelé, and Ronaldo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but neither are ours. Neither are our best players, Zico, Maradona, and Pelé, right? But the difference is,
our one's Madison. He's injured.
But for our best player is out tomorrow. But it's not about them being Maradona, Pelé. It's about how they make Bodo click. It's about how Bodo are built, and Bodo are built around Patrick Berg. Patrick Berg is the guy that makes them tick. He will dictate the game from them on Thursday night. Now, look, I'm not sitting here saying they're going to beat us, right? But I do think we're doing that Spurs thing where we're just a little bit too much like it's done. They're crap. This is a Spurs team this season.
Based on the first leg was 3-1. That's a nice advantage. You know what I mean?
I'm not doubting it, but the first leg as well, we opened the door and let them back in it in the last 10 minutes. And the first leg, they're missing their best players. This is a Spurs team that have lost 19 league games. This is a Spurs team that couldn't beat Tamworth in 90 minutes. This is a Spurs team that went to Villa in the FA Cup and got absolutely battered.
I agree. You don't have any confidence towards the game, but it still is Bodo Glimt, sir. Yes.
I understand. I just
not
think,
after Zagreb.
Yeah, I just think that if the way that game finished, and I don't know about anyone else, but I just felt a little bit flat, right? It felt like it was a real sucker punch, right? If we'd have gone 1-0 down and won 3-1, everyone is thinking, yeah, that's it, we came back, blah blah blah. Because they scored with 8 minutes to go and there was no real desire, the game kind of petered out. Bodo came and did what they needed to do. They know that they needed one goal. With that scoreline, they needed one goal, and that was it. I said, and before to Savva and on lots of occasions that we need a 3-goal lead going to Bodo. We've got a 2-goal lead. Yes, in theory, it should be. We should win. We should be better, but we don't have Madison. Kulu isn't fit, in my opinion. I don't think he. I agree.
I haven't seen much from him, really. Yeah.
No, and I just think he's been rushed back. What it also does, and this is getting ahead of ourselves, and I've said this a couple of times, is we also have a Son-Kane comparison with the final, because 100%, I don't think Son plays again this season, but they don't want to say it, right? They want to say he's training on grass, but there's no pictures of it. He's doing this, there's no pictures of it, right? We get to that final, it's going to be the same as the Champions League final. Son hasn't done anything. Let's be honest, he hasn't done much all season, but he hasn't played in the games that's got us there. And from a marketing, from a captain, he's our captain. He's this. He plays, and I just feel he has a stinker like Kane did in 2019, right? So, look, I'm really worried about tomorrow. I think the first 15 minutes are key.
What about Thursday? What about Thursday's game?
Sorry, Thursday. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Hang on, are you Arsenal? Are you talking about Arsenal? Are you really worried?
I'm not talking about those frauds. I can't wait for.
Are you talking about Arsenal? You're worried that your Arsenal team aren't going to go through.
I hope PSG take their chances and absolutely smash them off the park tomorrow.
PSG at home are incredible. PSG at Paris are incredible.
Look,
I just hope they get it done early.
Let's hope we get through, and then we can worry about it. I'm not nervous because I think, like Savva said this all season. If he went to sleep and he woke up and said Spurs have won, he'd be like, okay, cool. I thought that. If they'd lost, yeah, I kind of see that as well, right? So, whatever happens tomorrow, it won't be easy, and it won't be straightforward. You know it. It'll either be time or penalties or something that will just be crazy tomorrow night.
May I also just say, I think we're going to get through. I do actually think we're going to get through. But I do think that Bodo will beat us on the day. Maybe it's a 2-1 or something. Or maybe a 3-2. I think Bodo will beat us, but I still feel like we'll go through due to that 2-goal deficit.
Yes, and although all the teams that Bodo beaten before, are better than us, there is the football accident. The football accidents, they have an end, and that will be the end. Will be tomorrow. I mean, the day after tomorrow.
But do you know what, Psycho Teacher? Can I just say, like, when we were talking about it's just Bodo. Bodo this year have beaten better teams in the Europa than we have. Bodo in the Europa this year have beaten Lazio, right? FC20. They've beaten Porto. They've beaten Olympiacos. The best team we've beaten is Frankfurt. Like, they've beaten better football teams than us this year in Europe. So why are we so dismissive? Is it because they're only a small team in Norway? Is that why?
I do have to say, I usually see us.
Yes, it's a small team in Norway. Yeah, that's one of the reasons. I agree. That's one of the reasons, absolutely.
But sorry,
Tottenham is a big team in England. Even though we have been shite this season, it's still a big team in London.
But when I said, like, they've beaten better teams than us, doesn't that count for anything? Like we're saying it's only Bodo. Spurs this year have made a right hash of nearly every team we've played.
As much as I believe, the final between Manchester United and Tottenham will be like United will be the favorites, most likely to win the title, because United's shirt has got this heavy, trophy carrying thing, and we haven't got it over the past years, though. So I believe the same thing, applies to the same final against Bodo. Sincerely, they haven't got this,
That's a good point, to be fair.
No, listen. By the way, I'm not saying they're going to beat us. I think I've said it. I can't say enough times. I think we're going to win. I just think tomorrow. God, I'm doing it now. I just think Thursday is going to be trickier than I think a lot of Spurs fans are expecting. That we're going to turn up. It's going to be very, very straightforward. I don't think it is going to be. This is not what Spurs do. We will find a way, and we've got no James Maddison. We've got no creativity in the entire team.
We have his some
It's basically right. I always thought we were going to lose to Frankfurt. Right? Honestly, I thought because they were the best team we've come up against. Yeah, right. And now that when we beat Frankfurt, I've now said like we're going to win, and now I'm being called a flip flop because of all of it. All because I thought that we were going to then lose to Frankfurt, and then when we went through them, and then we got Bodo Glimt, and now I say we're going to win it, I'm a flip-flop all of a sudden.
Oh, don't worry. Oh, God. If the worst thing you've been called is a flip-flop, try being me. Yeah, don't worry. I wake up to streams of... I wake up to videos telling me I'm a drug addict, so I won't worry about it, mate.
All right, Savva, it's all true, mate. Don't get upset about it.
Yeah, it's all true.
I'm not.
All those drugs I do.
There is something that's just going quickly back to it. There is something that scares me a bit more when it comes to Bodo than it came to Frankfurt. When I went to the Frankfurt home game, we drawed 1-1, didn't we? And those Frankfurt fans looked unnervy. Even though they still kept on singing and that, there was a few of them going. Then I go to the Bodo game, yeah. And I see those Bodo fans, even though we beat them 3-1, and they were riled up, they were ready, and they knew that they were going home to their fortress.
That's natural, so they've never been traveling abroad, with their team, though. So there was their chance to have good fun, in London.
Like a teacher, what's your score prediction on Thursday? Do you think it's going to be like 3-0, 4-1 to us or something?
2-1, maybe 1-0. But
they won't there'll be no such thing as a clean sheet.
Goals, though, 2-1.
See, I actually think we'll probably get beaten, yeah, right, but it's not as bad as what everyone thinks. I think it'll be like a 2-1, and we still go through.
I mean, you've got to remember this is a Bodo Glimt team that, by the way, when they played Lazio, who by the way, I have just checked Lubo's, they're miles off top four. They're level they're level on points with the team in fourth. So they're by miles off. He means goal difference. I'm just looking. I remember watching the game as well, and Bodo Glimt in that game had 21 shots to Lazio 6. They had 60% possession. This is a team that are good at Bodo. Yeah, this is a team that are very good on their own patch. However, as I keep saying, normally they have that game first. So normally they have that game first and then they stink out the second leg and go through. That's why for me, this is a dangerous game where everyone's going to have to be absolutely switched on because they've got nothing, guys. There's no pressure. This fairy tale is theirs to win, not ours. We were the tournament favourites. Now, whether I think that's right or wrong, I'm not the bookies, right? We were the tournament favourites. Bodo Glimt, I can only guess at the beginning of the tournament were, I don't know, 500, 1,000 to 1. So no one's expecting Bodo to win, which is it's a nice thing for them and a pressure for us. So all I'm saying is just don't concede in the first 10 minutes. You know, am I watching?
First 10 minutes. They'll be the most important
silly.
minutes.
It's like nothing silly. No need to go there and be gung-ho. Don't need inverted fullbacks. Just go there, stifle them in midfield. Don't let Patrick Berg play and stink that place out. Because I think this is going to be
Patrick Berg's back, isn't he?
Are they going to have everyone that was missing from the first game? Are they going to have all of those players back, or just a few here and there?
The three main ones were suspended. The three main players were suspended, so they're going to be back. And I think one of the two injuries might be from what I read. But the Frankfurt fans were saying the Bodo fans were saying when you speak to Stel, that when he spoke to them afterwards, they were saying like we're okay with that. They're saying we don't mind because our ground is different. Now, listen, all I'm saying is we're going to go through. I just think it's going to be tough. And if we don't go through, we can all agree that it will be the ultimate Spursy, right? We can all agree on that, surely.
For my own sanity, I can't have you win it.
See,
sorry,
the thing is,
you're as an Arsenal fan, you can't have us winning it. Is this what you're saying?
No chance. No. I'd sooner have Man United win it, and I hate Man United.
Here's a question for you, AJ. Here's a question for you. If we win the Europa League and you don't win the Champions League, which you're not going to, have we had a better season than you?
Yes, easy.
Okay.
Oh, that's got a
You know what? A smart Arsenal fan. That's a start.
I just remember. I remember them all saying that they had a better season than us when they won the FA Cup. We finished second. True, but then I just remembered seeing a multitude of supporters last season saying that Arsenal had a better season than United in second, despite Arsenal's FA Cup win. Glad that you're a good one, man. Yeah, sure.
Okay, well, I don't know if you know, I'm Arsenal.
I had no idea, mate. Yeah.
I know that you're Arsenal, Rico. You're here to troll me about something.
No, I'm not here to troll you. I'm not here to troll. But I want to say hi to everyone in the call, first of all. Great show, lads. Great show, lads.
I'm going to have to go, though. I have to go, unfortunately.
I'll see you later, mate.
Thanks for jumping on, bro. Nice to meet you. Take care.
Yes.
Good to see you.
But Sav,
here we go, Rico. Come on, you've been giving me shit all year. Go on. What you got?
I've been waiting for this, mate, to be honest with you. I don't want to be rude or anything, but I think you owe me and Daniel Levy an apology.
Whoa.
I really don't know why that's funny.
Rico, that's a yellow card.
Daniel Levy an apology.
I think you owe me, Daniel Levy, and I know, listen, there's probably, I'll say it, I think you owe Ange an apology as well.
Sure. I'll tell you what. In one sentence for each one of those people, tell me why I owe an apology, first of all, to Levy, second of all, to Ange, and thirdly, why on earth would I apologise to you? Please feel free to tell me.
Well, all three of us. Well, actually, I'm a bit different to those two, but Sav, he's about to deliver you a European trophy. I don't know, innit? Honestly, I don't know. But when was the last time Spurs won a European trophy? I actually don't know.
1984.
1984. So did you see it?
I was actually there. I was 2. I was on my uncle's shoulders, so can't say I remember it, but I was there. Yeah.
Okay, fair play. So, but most Spurs fans haven't seen it, right? Most people in the chat, whatever, haven't seen one. They're about to see a European. Well, they've got a good chance now of seeing a European trophy. Daniel
Sure.
Levy, the worst CEO apparently football's ever seen. He's an absolute disgrace. He needs to go. I haven't seen the trophy in 6 years. I want my manager out. Spurs are about to win the European trophy, Europa League, which Ange said it. He said it in, what was it, January? I always win a trophy in my second season. We laughed at him, sir. I bet you all laughed at him. He said, you're a disgrace. Go back to Brisbane Rovers. He's about to deliver you.
Do you know what?
Wait,
do you know what
day is the final? Wait, can I ask you just what day is the final?
Wednesday, the 21st.
22nd of May, you could be 22nd of June, whenever it is, you could be celebrating on the streets of Tottenham Hotspur.
Sure, Rico.
With a
Rico,
trophy staff that you haven't seen. That is all down to Daniel Levy.
Oh, that's amazing.
I love this. Right, as always, for anyone who's just sit back and relax and watch as I rip this absolute fraud Rico apart. Right? I've never heard so much waffle from an Arsenal fan praising our chairman, which it's so weird. First and foremost, you want me to praise a chairman and a manager. And I'm going to show you this. Look, you want me to praise a chairman and a manager that had Tottenham Hotspur sitting in 16th place with 19 defeats this season. Mate, absolutely no chance. So far, we haven't won it. Second of all, we've beaten one half-decent team to get to the semi-final. What on earth are you talking about that I owe apologies? Do I get an apology every single time Spurs lose a league game and we're laughed at by opposition fans? Do I get an apology every single year that he's not won a trophy? First and foremost, what on earth has this trophy win got to do with Daniel Levy? Second of all, right, have you seen us in Europe? It's been abysmal. What on earth are you talking about? And second of all, Rico, aren't you like in your late 30s, early 40s?
Yes, or early 30s, 33.
Early 30s. Aren't you embarrassed that as a 30-year-old man, you're sitting there and asking for apologies to people that you don't know? Isn't that a bit embarrassing?
Well, me, it's tongue-in-cheek.
I'm on the internet. I need to apologise to Ange Postecoglou, who's paid £5 million a year. For what?
Well, me,
this is his job. This is his job. He was favourite to win this tournament. He has to win it, Rico.
Okay. Well, Sav, with me, it was just a bit of tongue-in-cheek. But if you can't take a joke, that's not on me. And Levy, honestly, I think you do an apology, Sav. You've sat here for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
You've called out.
They haven't even won the trophy yet. How's he owe him an apology yet?
No, but I'm saying if you do, you've called Levy over the last 15 years. How much stuff have you said about that guy? Every name under the sun, and he's about to deliver you a trophy. Sav, there's people in this country, like 95% of football fans have not seen a European trophy in this country. And he's about to deliver one. And as well, not only that, Sav, you
don't care about the percentage.
He's going to let him win it, and then he's going to sack him because he's going to say it's
superb. I'm here for it. That's
exactly. Because he's got standards for his club. He's not a loser, and he's not a fraud that you guys all think he is.
Rico, he's lost. Okay, can you explain something to me, please? Yeah. If he's not a loser, why have Tottenham this season had their worst ever Premier League season? Go.
Because unfortunately, well, listen, the injuries are a thing. I know you don't want to accept.
No. I've got stats that prove they're not. But go on, try again.
Oh, so the injuries are a thing, and also look, Spurs have had a poor season. I know that Spurs have had a poor season.
No, we haven't had a poor season. No. Rico, a poor season is finishing 8th and 9th. Yeah. A poor season is finishing 10th. A poor season is not finishing 16th or 17th. With 20 plus league defeats. So when you sit there, listen to yourself. You're calling the man a winner, and he's lost 19 league games, and his defense for himself is, but 15 of them have been by 1 goal. That's not a winner. That's not a winner in any shape or form. This manager, Rico, I've got so many stats and facts about how bad he's been in the 2 years that he's been here. And you want to come on here and tell me, right, that I should apologise to him because he's beaten Frankfurt away with a penalty, basically, and Bodo Glimt and Man United. Is that what we're doing?
But Sav, like, do you know if...
You've not sealed it against Bodo Glimt yet.
Hang on, no. Let Rico come on.
Through, man. Come on, you don't have to be political. You guys are through, man. But Sav,
I'm not being political. I've supported Spurs I've supported Spurs so long
Yeah.
But I don't know that we're through. I think we're going to go through.
Come on, Sav. You're through, man. They're awful.
Mate, we were 2-0 up on aggregate against Dynamo Zagreb years ago, who are much, I don't know, man.
They had Orsic, he was a good player. He scored the hat-trick that day, didn't he?
Yeah, he was the one that done us in, man. But still, I mean, they're not European pedigree, are they? They're basically, you could say they're almost adjacent to
quite a bit. Zagreb.
Yeah, but I wouldn't call them.
But when you're calling them awful, like on what?
Bodo are awful.
Oh, okay, Rico. But again, that you're showing how immature this is. Why are they awful?
But what league do they play in?
So anyone who doesn't play in a top league is awful.
No. I'm saying they don't play in the top league. I don't think they're even winning that top league, are they?
I didn't say they were, but look at look at what they've done in the last 3 or 4 years in Europe.
Upside. If they were in the Premier League, they get relegated. Let's be honest.
But look, no, they wouldn't. Look how you talk. Look how you talk.
What? How's that bad to say they're awful? You call Spurs awful all the time.
Bodo,
19 league games this season, Rico.
Rico.
Do you know what I love? Hang on, Barry. Hang on. Do you know what I love about this? This Arsenal clown, right? I love this. Is coming on to our channel.
Ad hominem attack stuff. You've got to answer the point. You can't just insult the person.
Mate, I've answered your point. You want an apology for a manager that's going to have our record number of defeats in a season.
And
why am I apologising for that?
Because he's about to deliver you a trophy, Sav.
Can I tell you something, Rico? Can I tell you
a moment?
Can I tell you what happened to the last? I'm going to teach you some history because you don't seem to know anything, right? Do you know what happened to the last 2 Spurs managers that won a trophy?
Well, one day Ramos got sacked. I can't remember the one before that.
Right. So the one before that was George Graham. So winning a trophy doesn't automatically mean you're a brilliant manager. Look what happened to Ten Hag last season. I bet you Man United absolutely regret not getting rid of Ten Hag in the summer and giving that money to Amorim in the summer. I bet you they absolutely regret it. But this is the thing. Short-sighted people can't see the bigger picture. Rico, I watch Spurs week in, week out. We are not good to watch. The panel will agree with me. We are not a good team. We are not well drilled, right? We have been embarrassed this year by Leicester, Ipswich. We've been embarrassed by Tamworth. We've been embarrassed by Coventry. We're all over us in the League Cup. We had to bring on the big guns to save us in the last minute, right? We've not been even that good in the Europa League. We just haven't played anybody. And you're coming on here and telling me I've got to be grateful because we're winning a competition that we haven't beat anyone good to win it. Sorry, mate. What?
Absolutely, Sav. Absolutely.
Okay, so Rico,
the league I agree with you has not been good enough. That's why he's going to sack Ange. That's why he's going to sack him at the end of it, if he wins it or not.
Do you know why he's going to get sacked, Rico?
You tell me.
Because he's not good. Even Daniel Levy knows it. Do you know what? Daniel Levy, by the way, is about to bring back Paratici, who's about to bring in his own manager. Because Paratici does not want to work with Ange. Because, yes, we've had a cup run and we could win a cup, right? We haven't, we could, right?
Yep.
Yes, a cup run doesn't make a manager a winner and great.
No,
I'm
not saying
dreadful, Rico.
I'm not saying he's great, but I'm saying you've got to give. Look, if you're going to criticize when he loses, I understand that. But then when he wins now and he delivers a trophy, not only just a trophy, a European trophy, you've got to give the man his credit. You've got to give the man
Rico, no one said he wasn't going to get his credit. I just said I don't want him here. I've said a million times. Ange wins this trophy. Cheers, Ange. Thanks very much. Right. Who are you bringing in, Paratici? Who's our manager?
Yeah.
Right. Now, that's because I want the best for my club, Rico. I don't like watching what I watch week in, week out. There are Spurs fans that love watching us lose week in, week out, apparently. I am not one of them. I don't like watching a team that don't know how to defend. I don't like watching a team that don't know how to attack. I like watching a team, right? So at the end of the day, my friend, you need to worry about your own club. You don't need to worry about mine. You don't need to worry about... No, listen, let me finish. You don't need to worry about my football club that you seem to have a lot of invested interest in Daniel Levy and Ange. Would you take Daniel Levy and Ange?
No, hell no.
Then don't come on my show and give the big one, mate.
No, Levy. Actually, no, I'll take that back. Ange, I would not take, but Levy.
You
honestly, I
take
don't-
Daniel Levy.
Oh my
No,
god!
Daniel Levy is a great businessman, whether you like it or not.
Rico,
He's a top quality businessman, and I think if he had more money at Arsenal, where there's a lot more revenue and we're a big club, and there actually is expectation to win.
spent 800
I
million
think
and
he'd
won no
actually
major
do well.
orders. Don't even think about it.
I'm not saying I'd take him, but he wouldn't be the worst. He wouldn't be the worst CEO. He definitely wouldn't.
They've got the Cronkies, man. It's bad enough.
They are awful, exactly. I know they're
Angus'
awful.
face.
But,
Even
but,
Angus.
How do you think that makes it worse?
sorry.
What have I walked into? Are you the dumbest person on the planet?
I can't hear what you're saying. I can't hear what you're saying.
Anyway, hang on. Before we get to whatever anyone else is going to say, the defending champions in Norway are Bodo Glimt, just by the way.
Okay,
just
fair enough. But
just
fair
by
enough.
the
But
way.
I watched them.
He comes on shows and he doesn't know facts. I love this guy. Honestly, the best troll
Wait,
I've ever had
okay.
on
Can
this show.
I ask the panel of Spurs fans? Would you have taken 16th in the Europa League this season at the start of the season?
100%. I probably would have, because I've never seen a trophy.
Premier League anyway.
Sav, you're shaking your head, mate. You are a liar. You absolutely would have.
Do you know, Rico, I'm going to teach you something. Rico, I'm going to teach you something. First of all, I don't believe you're in your 30s because you sound thick as shit, right? Second of all, right, I'm going to teach you something, Rico. As a YouTuber, I put my face to the camera, something that you're too scared to do, right? I put my face to the camera every single day. Everyone on my show would have heard me say a million times in the summer, whatever. I am not taking 16th, 17th in a trophy because that is utterly shambolic. That means that for 38 games of the season, we have been diabolical. So please don't group us all together, Rico. Don't come on my show and call me a liar. I will just chuck you out, right? I am not your regular Tottenham fan that goes, oh, please, a trophy in 17th. Nah, I'm not that guy, Rico. I have standards for my football club. Yeah, you don't have standards for Arsenal because you've just told the world that you want Daniel Levy as your
I
chairman.
didn't say I'd want him. I said he wouldn't be the worst CEO in the world. Absolutely.
You said you'd take Daniel Levy.
I didn't say I'd take him. I said he wouldn't be the worst option. He wouldn't be like, oh my God,
we all heard you.
Levy, no way.
We all heard you say it.
No,
we all heard you say it. You actually,
I never said
you
that.
actually,
you did.
You said no, and then went, actually, let me change my mind on that. Yeah,
I said actually, he wouldn't be the worst option. No,
mate,
he wouldn't be. He wouldn't be. He's a good CEO, Sav.
Rico,
I already explained to you what he done during the Pochettino times.
He's a brilliant CEO. Let me ask you something. Yeah. What do you think of your owners?
They're awful.
Okay, how long have your owners owned Arsenal?
20 years.
Okay, why are they awful?
Because they took over when we were at the top of English football, and we're not that anymore. We haven't been that for 20 years. So they've actually brought us down a level. Whereas Levy's actually brought you up. He's brought you up.
No. See, Rico, this is where you're. I've tried to explain this to you before. This is where you don't know your Spurs history. This is why when you come onto a Spurs channel, you're talking to someone who knows the Spurs history inside out like the back of my hand, right? This is what I do for a living every day. I talk about this club. When you're saying they've made us worse, we've won less trophies with them than the previous 25 years without them. So, no, they've not made us better. They've not. The previous 25 years to them, we won 5 trophies. The 24 years with them, we've won 1. Learn your history before you troll.
Oh, so now it's about trophies and not league position.
He'll have a smart answer here, God.
Yeah, now it's about trophies, lads. It's not about league position. And then when he delivers one, I don't mind because we finished 6th. You can't win. You can't. Levy cannot win. Daniel Levy cannot win. I feel for him. I feel for him.
This guy's a troll, and AJ. This guy is your fan base, by the way. This guy is Arsenal. This guy is your fan base. Angus and AJ. You guys can have this clown.
I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed.
Okay,
I'm embarrassed.
Fair enough, mate.
This is crazy.
I've said what I needed to say.
So let me get this straight, right? Yeah. In 20 years since your owners have been there, how many trophies have Arsenal won?
We've won 5. No, 4. 4 FA Cups.
4 FA Cups in 20 years.
Yes.
Right? In 24 years, we have won 1 League Cup, but you would swap your owners for ours.
I didn't say I'd swap. I just said he wouldn't be the worst option. I think you're not listening.
Yes, he would.
Yeah, much worse, mate.
Yes, he would.
Oh, no, I wouldn't. But honestly, I'm just saying there's worse CEOs out there. That's all I'm saying. There's worse out there. I'm saying
not if you want to win.
Worse for Spurs. They could be worse for Spurs. That's my point. I never said Daniel Levy's the greatest. He's the best ever. I never said that. If you go through all our live streams, I've never said that.
Someone that doesn't think
he deserves a lot more respect than you give him, and he's what?
Do you know what? Trophy. For someone that's claiming, right? For someone that's claiming that you don't like Daniel Levy, you keep coming onto a Spurs channel and defending him. That's like me ringing into Lee Gunner's show, right? Or choose your Arsenal fan of choice, right? And saying, you know what, Lee? Nah, Lee, you've got it wrong. Martin Odegaard's a superb player. He's your best player. Why would I have that invested interest to do that? That's weird.
Well, Savva, I'm not a lover of football. If you think people don't go into Ligue 1 and say Arteta's a good manager and they don't support Arsenal, then I think you're deluded, mate. That's the thing. It does happen.
Say that again. Say that again slowly. Say that again. You said that so quick. Say that again slowly.
If you think people don't go onto Ligue 1 streams and say Arteta's a good manager or Odegaard's a good player and they don't support Arsenal, then you're wrong. That does happen. I guarantee you.
Sure, but as a Spurs fan, why am I going to go onto an Arsenal channel? Why would I tune in to an Arsenal channel that is an Arsenal fan calling show and ring in and start defending your owners? That's weird. You don't see that.
I mean, that's fair enough.
Really
you can call it weird. You can call it weird, but I just believe Daniel Levy deserves more respect than he gets, and I feel like
he doesn't respect the club, sir. He doesn't respect the history of the club.
You overestimate the size and what Spurs should be doing, and you underestimate what Levy's actually doing. He's underappreciated. It's the truth. Do you know what?
You're right.
When you're saying Spurs, right?
You're right.
Your friends close, your enemies. I keep Spurs very close. That's how
Rico, do you know what? You're right. All those that are protesting, they're not protesting. They're not
There's going to be no
protesting.
more protesters on Hotspur Away when you guys win the Europa League. Where are all those protests going to go, Sav? That's what I want to know. Where are they going to go?
Rico, I don't know. If you let me speak, I'll be able to give you an answer to one of your questions. Right?
Go on.
There is a reason, Rico, that so many fans do not like these owners, right? You don't understand about all of the broken promises they have made to us. You don't understand the way they've treated our fan base, the way they've used us to build their cash cow, which is basically an ATM machine. You don't understand what they told us, that we were going through the pain of going to Wembley for 2 years because when we get through the other side, we're going to compete, right? We haven't competed with anything. We've got worse and worse and worse since we've moved to this new stadium. Guys, in the Spurs fan base, am I lying? Since that Champions League final, we moved. Let me finish. Since we moved to that new stadium, right, we've got worse and worse and worse and worse. And fans have had enough. Now, yes, we might win a European trophy. I would bloody well expect us to with who we've played. So far, we have done... Listen, I'm not saying you have to beat good teams to get there, but I'm saying there's no one we've played so far where I've gone, they're going to knock us out. No one. No one we've played have I gone, wow, we were brilliant. Or, wow, they're going to knock us out. We've had some nice teams to play. So if you think an easy cup run negates every lie that this man has told us for 24 years... Dude, the intelligence levels are low. The IQ is really low. We don't forget. That's madness. One cup run can't undo everything. If you win the Champions League this year, right? If you win the Champions League, are you suddenly your owners in?
Absolutely not.
So, sorry, what?
No, but I already told you. I think Levy up to this point has done a good enough job for Spurs. I've told you that many times.
He's taking us backwards. You don't understand.
But this is a regression. But I'm saying if you look at his whole tenure, I've already showed you his league position his actual league position is averaging 6th his whole Spurs tenure. Before that, he was averaging 9th. So yeah, he has actually bought you.
Do you know that's not true?
Bought you to a Champions League final, and now he's
again, Rico, that's not true.
The Europa League.
Rico, that's again, Rico. What I love about people like you come on and you spout these facts like they're truth. They're not. The 25 years before Daniel Levy, our average league position was like 6.5. Right?
It was ninth. You showed me it was ninth.
It wasn't ninth.
It was
right?
ninth. We went through it.
It wasn't ninth. Right? I've got it. Right? It
Please
wasn't
bring it
ninth.
up.
Rico, even if it was 9th to 6, so you want me to praise a chairman that in 25 years has delivered me 3 league positions above? That's what you want me to praise?
Well, to be honest, not only just that, but brought you to a Champions League final, which I've told you before, and for some reason you don't seem to care about that. He's brought you the best first teams
Rico, don't mug me off on my own channel, mate. It's not that. Sorry, what do you mean? Don't seem to care about that? But again, Rico, I know do you know what I like? When you get a bit older and mature, you're going to understand a few things in life, my friend. Right?
In a few years' time.
Things can be bad, right? With a ray of sunshine. So, for example, Spurs weren't good for years and years and years. We get to a Champions League final. We go, God, what a brilliant experience that was. Since that Champions League final, everything Daniel Levy has done has been wrong. Again, Spurs fans, am I lying? Everything we've done, we've downgraded on players. We've downgraded on manager, right? He's buying now. We've downgraded on our salary per year, our wages per year. It's going down and down and down. But you don't know these things, Rico, because you're not a Spurs fan. So you're sitting here and bigging up all these things he's done. And if he had done these things as your chairman, you would be livid. But because it's our chairman, you think I should be grateful.
Well, you said degrading in manager, but Mourinho, Conte, they're better managers than Spurs have ever had. Spurs have never had managers of that caliber. I know they failed in the end, but he still brought them in.
No, Rico.
You got Spurs to a level where you could actually bring in managers like that. That's
Jose, again, learn your history. You keep saying things that you don't know the answers to. Jose and Conte didn't fail at Tottenham Hotspur. I'm going to tell you why. Jose and Conte were given god-awful squads to work with, right? Jose's period at Tottenham Hotspur, right? He was here for just over 18 months. Rico, how many managers in the country got more points than Jose in the 18 months he managed Tottenham?
I don't know. I'm sure you'll tell me.
3. That's not failing. With the squad he had, he actually done a very good job. He got us to a final. The squad he actually had us fighting for the top 4. Antonio Conte, look at the squad Antonio Conte had. He got us top 4. So when you're saying they failed, Daniel Levy failed them.
We were third when we sacked Conte.
I also think they weren't good enough, to be honest. I think they weren't good enough. Jose and Conte at that time. They weren't managing.
I don't know whether I have rose-tinted glasses about Conte, but I remember basically the sort of stint, the run we went on to get Champions League under Conte. I'd not seen that kind of mentality from these players. It was the Norwich game, for example, when all this talk the week before, oh, here we go, Spursy, they're gonna bottle it last hurdle against Norwich. Basically, we just turned up there. We put all that talk to bed. I've not seen this sort of Conte-like sort of winning instinct. You know, maybe that's just me.
Mate, he doesn't know Spurs. This is the problem. Again, you look at the facts and evidence I've just given him with the squads they had, and he said, "Yeah, I didn't think they did well." This guy doesn't understand football. Do you know what? I'm going to kick him out now. I'm bored of him. You've annoyed me.
You're rattled, man. You're rattled again.
No, I'm not rattled, mate. Everyone in the chat can see you're chatting shit again, Rico.
I scored you again. I'm sorry. But
dude.
My God.
Do you know what? And you wonder why people hate the Arsenal fan base, lads. Do you know what? Unfortunately, someone never went to school, and it ain't us. That Rico, if you're going to come onto a channel, have the facts, have the data, know what you're talking about. It's absolutely mental, right? That's Arsenal. Sorry, guys. This is Angus, AJ. This is why people hate Arsenal fans, because look at the state of that bloke.
I hate Arsenal fans more than you.
I think he's going to lose his virginity in the next 5 to 10 years, and I feel sorry for whoever he does lose his virginity. I'm really concerned about the human race. I'm so concerned about it. Guys, we've got about 5-6 minutes. Sorry, I didn't even realise when I let Rico in. I was like, oh shit, it's Rico. I don't even know what to say to that. So our owner's great. Your owner's shit. You've won more than us. I should be grateful to my owner might win a European trophy, but if you win the Champions League, you still want your owners out. I've got the contradictions are just mental. By the way, everyone, I didn't kick Rico. By the way, I didn't kick Rico. He left. And Mr. M in the background, I need your camera on, bro. You're not coming on without it. I don't know you. I don't know you. I don't even know where to go after that, guys. I don't know how to go after that absolute comedy performance.
Well, we can ask Angus if he's worried about tomorrow night, because you know he's asking us if we're worried. I think you know the answer.
Yes, I am, Nick. Before you ask, yes, I am massively. I am massively worried.
So hang on a minute. Can I just?
I am worried. Yeah.
I just noticed your name after Real Madrid. Arteta in. Now it's Arteta out. You're
Shut up! No! I was never Arteta in.
Yeah,
not anymore. Not anymore. I'm not. Not anymore. Not anymore.
You do this a lot, by the way, Angus.
Yeah, that was for one game, right? For one game. He has to win me the Champions League for him to keep his job. And if he doesn't, adios. He has to win me the Champions League.
He wants that.
What do you think his chances are of winning the Champions League, mate? Your opinion?
0. 0.
Interesting, I see.
I would say 0, but we need a miracle.
We have 0 chance of winning Champions League.
AJ, do you feel the same? 0 chance to win the Champions League?
Maybe. The thing is, I don't trust us, but PSG also have an ability to self-destruct. So it's literally whatever happens in the first half decides who goes through.
It's the first 20 minutes for me. If we get through the first 20 minutes, let's see what happens after that.
One thing that helps us is Partey back from suspension, which is a giant help.
Massively, yeah.
We missed him badly, and as far as I'm concerned, Arteta can go at the end of the season regardless of if he wins the Champions League or not, because the amount of bad things he's done in this club as overweight, like 2 good cup runs in 5 years is not acceptable. Sorry.
When did I'm just curious, just for curiosity's sake, when did you sort of jump over to the Arteta outside? Because I remember sort of a year ago today, even most Arsenal fans I hear or speak to were sort of very still on Arteta's side. So when did you actually decide you wanted him gone?
I wanted him sacked early. I wanted him sacked during his first season.
Yeah, fair.
I remember the exact day. I remember we lost 2-0 to Tottenham. It was in December. We went top of the league and we went to
I remember that one.
Yeah, I had enough. Because the window was horrific and the football was somehow even worse than it was when we won the cup with another man's squad.
Do you know what you need? You need Daniel Levy. That's what you need. You need Daniel Levy. He'll sort out all your problems. Guys, look, I am going to leave it there. We'll have another one of these in a few days. We can do these every couple of days. What I love about this is you never know what you're going to get on. You get loads of good people like you lot, and then you get clowns like Rico. I'll be honest. If I was him with those opinions, you wouldn't show your face either, would you? So I do get why he doesn't put a camera on. But I think he's a friend of a friend. I think he knows one of my good friends, which is embarrassing for my friend. They're friends with him. Guys, just quickly, score prediction tonight. Inter Milan, Barcelona, 3-3 from the first leg. By the way, anybody who's here, I am going to redirect you over to my second channel where we're going to be doing a watch-along of Inter Milan versus Barcelona. Ryan, Inter Barca?
Do you know what? I think it will be quite close. I honestly think the difference maker is the generational player, and Lemmy Yamal, who probably wins it. And I'd say, what, 3-2?
3-2 to Barca.
Yeah.
Okay. Psycho teacher.
Barcelona got a fantastic, attacking, football, as always. 2-1. 2-1, Barcelona.
2-1 Barcelona. Definitely Main. I'm guessing that's not your real name, but we'll go with it.
Yeah, you can just call me Deathly if you want. I'll predict 2-2 and Barcelona go through on penalties. That's what I'm feeling.
Well, no one for Inter so far. Angus?
2-0 Barcelona.
2-0 Barcelona. AJ?
3-1 Inter.
3-1. Oh, AJ, I like that. Edgy. There's always one on the panel with an edgy opinion, isn't there?
The only reason, the thing is, I want Barca to go through because I think if we go through against PSG, I'd rather play Barca than Inter. But Barca's defense is so bad; they're gonna mess up at some point.
We're gonna lose either way in the final. We're gonna lose it. Either team we play, we're gonna lose in the final.
Sure, but we stand more of a chance against Barca. Like if we play Inter again, we'll get slapped again. No problem.
I love this that you just said we've got more chance. Barcelona's forward line would slap you about for fun. I don't even know what you're thinking.
My only solace is our defense is, the thing is, our defense is not as good as it was last year, but it's still good. It's just their defense is so bad, I think we're probably going to score. But it's how much more are they going to score than us?
And it's if we can stop Lamine Yamal, that's the main worry for us. Which I don't think we can.
You're not wrong.
Well, look, on that note, I need to go. I need to get a drink before I start that show in 5 minutes. So listen, thank you very much to Ryan, Psycho Teacher, to Deathly, to Angus, to AJ. Even thank you to Lubo and Nick who came in. We also had Miles. Am I missing anybody? We also had Rico. Big up Rico. Every show needs one, and he was that one. I'm going to clip him up. I've got to clip him up and put out a video later. Take care, everyone. I'm going to send you over if you fancy a chilled out watch along. Everybody, much love. Take care. And as always, come on, you Spurs.